From near-death experiences to the devastation of homelessness, how and where do we find the will to overcome insurmountable odds? And when we do overcome these challenges, how do we pass that story of survival on to others? Life on the Rocks is that place where these stories are heard from those who live to tell them. And now, here is your host, Kyle Miller.
Welcome to the show where today's guest shares how his parents were drug addicts, he dropped out of high school, he got hooked on methadone, and had a heart attack. But he came back from all of that to build a portfolio of rental properties that allows him to live the life that he desires. Allan Foglio, welcome to Life on the Rocks, brother. I'm so excited to have you on the show. Are you ready to get this thing started, man?
Yes, sir. Hey, Kyle. Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me on, and thank you for letting me tell my story.
Absolutely, man. I've heard just a little bit of it, and already I'm just completely bought into this thing, and I can't wait to dig into this story of yours.
Cool, man. I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, man. So tell me, like, how's this whole thing start with you, and like what you're kind of doing right now, and then take me into that story of how you got there.
Yeah. So, grew up with a problem childhood. Both my parents were drug addicts, heroin addicts, raised that way. I never graduated high school. I got into drug addiction myself for many years. And then I had, another thing, I had a massive heart attack and I have 4 stents. So that's kind of a little bit of my background. Where I am today is I live in Florida. I've got a real estate portfolio of a few hundred properties, and we also do some buy, fix, and sell. I think they call that flipping on TV, house flipping. And we do some wholesaling too. So
Nice.
that's the gist of it.
Nice, man. That's awesome. Like, all right. So growing up with both parents being drug addicts, how does that affect you? What was that daily life kind of growing up and seeing that?
Man, there's a lot to it, dude. I don't know. I just have a lot of memories of that, right? A lot of holes in the walls, a lot of fighting, a lot of screaming, seeing them shooting up heroin. You know, they would put like socks and stuff in the doors. They would try and hide, but obviously you knew what they're doing. But sometimes they'd forget to put fill the holes up, so you'd see that. Or you'd come home and I remember my mom one time had a needle sticking out of her neck. She was hiring a kite and forgot to take the needle out, and they call it nodding off, right? So you get so high you just kind of nod off, and man, just seeing a lot of that stuff growing up.
I didn't grow up. I didn't have those experiences. I just, it kind of sounds like one of those things off of NCIS that you kind of watch and you see them do. The kids coming home from school and seeing mom and dad both passed out. I saw that one video online of that kid, or the parents are sitting there passed out both in the car, and they're trying to get them to wake up. And I don't think they did. But that's just got to be. Did you know that was wrong? Like growing up, did you know it was wrong? Did you know like why are they doing that, or did you have any thoughts like that? Or
it pretty much seemed normal, man, to be honest. I mean, I knew something was up because I hardly even went to school because they were either too high or they were looking for dope. So they didn't even care if we went to school. You'd never be able to get away with it nowadays, but it was a kind of a small town, and
right.
People knew my family there, not only my parents, but my grandma and grandpa, and there was kind of a large family. And so I think they just didn't put their nose in the business. But yeah, I knew it wasn't right, man, but it just becomes normal.
Yeah. You just see it every day. It's like my dad coming home and grabbing a beer out of the refrigerator, and drinking a beer. I guess if you see it over and over and over again, it just becomes kind of normal. All right. Yeah. So you deal with that, right? And now you get into high school and you just say, high school, I'm not into it.
Yeah. So then actually, so my parents went to prison when I was, I don't know, around 8 years old, moved in with my grandma and grandpa, and parents would get out of prison, get back in, get out, get back in. But I always stayed with my grandma and grandpa, but I think I was in the 10th grade, and I don't know, I just wasn't feeling school, man. And so I stopped going in the 10th grade and actually went to work. So
who did you stay with?
My grandfather and grandfather.
Oh, your grandfather. Okay.
Yep. They were both of Italian descent, and so they pretty much raised me.
Oh wow. They took you in. and started raising you. And then at 16, you were like, I'm done.
I don't even think I might have. Yeah, I guess I was 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, so about 16, I was done with school, man. I went to work, working for my uncle driving tractor, and yeah, just working on the farm.
Nice. So drop out, you're just working on the farm, you're doing that. Did you have any ambitions to ever be like an entrepreneur or anything like that? Or just kind of, how did that come about?
Yeah, so actually, I met my wife. She was 15. We're still together today. We have a 3-year-old daughter. I met her. She was 15. I was 17. I was working cattle with my grandfather, and I met my wife Jennifer. And so we've been together since she was 15. She was 15. I was 17, and that kind of progressed into me having some broken bones and getting in some car accidents and different things, which led me getting addicted to pain pills, Vicodin,
Mm.
Norco, those kinds of things. And so I've had 2 broken wrists, a broken ankle, my pelvis broken in 4 places, my collarbone broken 3 times. So just multiple accidents, one after another. And by this time, my parents were out of prison again. And so my mom saw that I was sick from the pain pills, and she was on methadone, which is, I don't know if you know what methadone is, but
Yep.
it's a legal synthetic opiate. Basically, it's the strongest opiate you can get, one of them
Right.
anyway. And so she said, "Hey, well, I know you're sick. Why don't you take some of this methadone?" And I was
Mm.
freaking hooked, dude. She freaking got me hooked on methadone. And if you've ever seen a methadone clinic, man, it's nothing nice. It's heroin addicts,
Yeah.
basically. You're
Yeah.
down
It's
there with freaking
basically,
you're junkies, dude. They're down there
right.
with freaking junkies. So now
Yeah.
I'm on freaking methadone, and yeah, just years, man, years to get off of that, and finally got off of it, and was still working on the farm. And yeah, my wife asked me one day, to circle back to your question about the entrepreneur, "Are you going to drive tractor the rest of your life?" I said, "Well, yeah, it was pretty much what I was going to do, right? Why?" She said,
Right.
"Because we don't have any damn money." Oh, all right. So that kind of led me on a path of trying to figure out how to make more money, and also led me down the path of self improvement. So I started searching, and I started coming across guys on YouTube like Jim Rohn,
Yeah.
Bob Proctor, Grant Cardone before he was cool, right?
Yep.
These types of guys. And I heard them start talking about goals. You can do whatever you want. They just stuff that I didn't even know what a goal was, dude. I didn't even know you could have goals. So I started immersing myself in all this content, and basically started brainwashing myself, dude. And so what I did is I got my real estate license after that. And
Why real estate?
my wife was actually in real estate at the time, working for a new home
Okay.
builder.
Okay.
And so she was making okay money. She was basically supporting us because I was just driving tractor, not making
Right.
any money. And I'd been all screwed up on methadone for years. And so by this time I was clean. And yeah, so I said, okay, let me try this. So I got my license, and I set a goal to make what they were paying me a month. That was my goal. And I still have the checks to this day, dude. Made $40,000 a few months into real estate. Like I literally brainwashed myself listening to Grant Cardone, Bob Proctor, Jim Rohn, primarily Bob Proctor and Grant Cardone. I mean,
Hmm.
dude, I didn't listen to anything else, dude. I didn't listen to music. I didn't listen to damn news. I gave our TV away, dude, to the house cleaner. We had a lady that would come once a month and just
Right.
kind of dust and all that. And I gave the TV away to her. Like, we still don't have a TV. I haven't had it. Actually, there's TVs in the house we bought, but I haven't even turned them on.
Yeah.
So they came with the house. But yeah, we haven't had a TV for 7, 8 years. So yeah, man, I just got really immersed and just got after it.
That's awesome. Now, getting off. So she changed your life. She's the one that just kind of like, she's the one that put that fire in you and said, "Hey, are you just going to drive tractor all the rest of your life or what?" And you just had an aha moment there, like, "Oh shit."
Well,
Like,
that's what I was actually planning on doing. I kind of liked it,
yeah.
but yeah, I could see her point, not having any money, right? So
Hmm.
then, but it just led me down this path, man, of trying to figure it out, which led to the self improvement part,
Yeah.
and me coming across all these guys on YouTube and just hearing things that I'd never heard before. I never heard someone talk about goals. And the way Grant Cardone was talking back then, he used to have these things called Grant rants. I don't even know if you saw them, but this was
Uh-uh.
like old stuff, 7, 8 years ago. And I would literally listen to those things. He had, I don't know, maybe 100 of them. I listened to them over and over and over. That's all I did, dude, is just listen to that stuff and Bob Proctor. So it was
That is
really
awesome.
life changing for me, man.
So, and I tell my kids this right now. I was like, listen, if you're not going to be like a doctor or an engineer or something that has this extensive study, like you don't need to go to college. Like there are people out there that'll teach you what you need to know to be able to get to where you want to be for way less, and you can get there a lot faster. And
100%.
the Grant Cardones, the Bob Proctors, the Jim Rohns, I've listened to those guys a lot as well, and it's amazing. You can trick your body. First, you don't believe it, but then you start listening to that, and then you go, okay, you get this. You kind of get some borrowed belief that if he said I could do it, I could do it, and then you start doing it, and you get real belief, like I'm making this stuff happen, and then the confidence pours on, and then it's just like, let's go, and it completely can change lives. But I mean, it's just like you got to want to do it, right?
Yeah, of course. And I think once you start seeing results, then it's like, man, it's like it was really on for me. I'm like, wow, like I can really do this. So it was pretty cool, man, thinking about it now.
So you were making 40K a month, a couple months into real estate, and that's what you were making the whole year before just
No,
driving track.
yeah, I was
Sorry.
making, not even 40. It was like 39 and some change, but my goal was to make 40 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I still have the checks, man. I saw them I was going through a bunch of my old phones the other day. And the first week, I think this was my first week of real estate checks because I had 10 listings as a realtor,
Okay.
my first month, because all I would do was the notice of defaults that people were behind on payments. I was
Yep.
knocking on their doors.
Okay.
Anybody I saw on Craigslist or Zillow that was trying to do for sale by owner, dude, I
Yep.
was freaking hounding them. So like it was just like that's all I was doing. And
Yeah.
yeah, man, I led to 10 listings. So my first month.
That's awesome. And what market was this in at the time?
That was in Fresno, California.
All right. So now you're cranking away. You got your real estate deals going. You're moving along. You're doing well. I'm assuming life's good. There's no issues that you have going on.
No, by that time, man, I'd got my act together and was pretty much hammered down, man. So the way I got into the investing side of it was my wife said, "Well, I want to go on vacation because we'd never been on vacation. We didn't have any damn money." All right, well, where do you want to go? I want to go to the Bahamas. All right, book it. So she booked the trip to the Sandals Resort.
Uh huh.
And when we were at the Sandals Resort, I met a guy that changed my life. Dean Garland he's an older man, he's in his 80s now. Dean Garland from Long Beach, California.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to talking to this old man at dinner and asked him what he did. He said he was in real estate and told me he was a real estate investor. And, very successful guy, had a bunch of properties in Long Beach. And basically told me, Allan, whether I'm here in the Bahamas or I'm in Long Beach, I'm making the same amount of money
Yeah.
because I have investment properties. So the money's coming in. He said, "You're a realtor and you're not making any money being here." I
Right.
said, "Damn, man." So basically, I convinced this old man to become my first mentor. And he didn't have any kids. And yeah, man, I went home and I totally changed my strategy, dude. And I went full bore into the investing side of it.
So you got your mentor. He's from Long Beach. He's probably in, Spain when you were talking to him at sometimes. So he was telling you about how the reoccurring income come in. And so he was buying single family residential, or was he buying commercial stuff, or what was he buying?
He had all residential, but he had multifamily, and he had some stuff that was like 70 units, all the way
Okay.
down to single family houses. So
Gotcha.
he had a nice mixture. When I met him, he's already like kind of at the end of his career,
Yeah.
and he was in his 70s when I met him. He's in his 80s now. He was probably mid 70s now. He's in his 80s. But yeah, he like you talk to someone, man. Like people can really they can like drop an idea,
Yeah.
something maybe you've never heard before, and if you can comprehend it and it resonates with you, I think it can be life changing. And that's kind of what happened for me with him.
Well, sometimes we have to put ourselves in those positions. Like we have to get away from the day to day, because you to talk to that guy where you're sitting there at a restaurant or something at dinner with in Fresno, right? That might have not came across the same way. Now you're in the Bahamas at Sandals, and you talk to Dean, and Dean's like, "Hey man, I'm making money while I'm here," and you're not, and you're like, "What?" And I truly believe life happens for us, not to us, right? So your wife set it up. Hey, sounds like to me that she's a pretty incredible person. It's got a good head on her shoulders too.
Yep, to stick with me, man, I would have to say so, because I put her through some serious BS, dude. Most people
Yeah,
have been gone. So,
that's awesome.
but yeah, we came home, and so what I started doing is then I started figuring out they were at this time they were having all the foreclosure sales at the Radisson Hotel, and
Okay.
so I said, all right,
What
I'm
year
gonna
is
go
this?
down.
This is what? 09?
This was probably a year after I started, so I've been doing this about 8 years. So it would have been 7 years ago, however long ago that was.
15?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
14, 15? Okay.
Yep. So I started going down to the Radisson trying to figure out how I'm going to get these cheaper properties. So first day I'm down there, I sit down, they're having the auction. There's a guy next to me. He looks like a gangster, right? He's got a freaking Raiders jersey on. He's got freaking baggy pants. I'm like, who's the? No, mind you, I used to wear like suits and nice clothes because that was the projection I thought I
Right.
needed. When I was driving
Right.
tractor, I was dirty all day. And then, dude,
Yeah.
I would go home and change and put on these nice clothes and I would go out door knocking because I thought, that's what a realtor did.
Right.
Anyway, so to make a long story short, by the end of this day, this guy had bought over $1 million worth of property. I said, what the hell? So then I got to talking to him, right? His name was Kyle. And I got to talking to him. I said, well, how do you guys know about these auctions? How do you know where what properties are coming? He said, oh, it's easy, man. I have this app right here. It's called Foreclosure Radar, which
Uh-huh.
now is called Property Radar. But
Okay.
he said, yeah, and it just gives me a list of all these properties that are coming to the auction. I
Yeah.
said, I'm already door knocking. What if I just get ahead of these guys and just start going to the houses before they get to the auction?
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. And so then I started, I didn't have any money to buy them at the time. I didn't have that much money, but I started putting them under contract, which Dean kind of helped me with. He was kind of an old school, like he had done some quote unquote wholesaling back in the day, right? Who
Right.
knows when? But he helped me with like just a 2-page agreement, and I was basically putting these properties under contract, and then I was making connections with the guys at the Radisson because they were having these auctions all the time down there, and
Yeah.
then I was putting the two together, and that's how I started making like decent money,
Right.
more money than I was making for realtor.
Yeah. So you were already doing the work. You just got ahead of them, and that's your marketing, like, right? And so that's considered the marketing, right? Door knocking is part of a marketing channel that we do. And then so you're doing this, you're building up some cash, and then now when do you start buying them yourself?
Yeah, so the first property I bought, 1417 North Ferger, I think was the address. I still remember it.
Mm-hmm.
I had, I don't know, I think $65,000 saved up. We bought that property, had tenants in it, and as soon as we closed escrow, dude, these suckers stopped paying rent. Son of a gun. And so it took us months to get these damn people out. And when we finally got them out, dude, they were like tweakers. They took
Uh-huh.
every single piece of metal in that house. I'm talking the hinges, the screws. They ripped all the wires out of the walls. It was a freaking nightmare, man. And so that sent me into figuring out how to renovate a property.
Right.
Like it was a freaking nightmare. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was my first rental property, and now I had to figure out how to put this damn thing back together, right? Because we didn't
Yeah.
have much more money, man. We really I had enough saved up to buy the house. I think we maybe had an extra 20 or 30 grand or something, but we didn't have a lot of money. I was not planning on that.
Right.
And so, yeah, that was our first rental. I got that thing fixed up and got it refinanced, and I think it appraised for, I don't know, 140,000, something like that. I did a podcast with a guy back in the day, and he said, "Oh, so you do a lot of the Burr method?" I didn't even know what the hell he was talking about.
Yeah.
The buy, refinance. I'm like, so he
Yeah.
explained it to me, and I said, "Yeah, that's what we've been doing." But anyway, that was my first deal where I did that.
Uh-huh. That's awesome. Did you do the work, or you did all the work? on the house. Is that what
No,
you're?
I
No,
actually tried. I tried, but I was actually screwing so much stuff up that and I would have to go to Home Depot so many times, like it
uh-huh.
was freaking ridiculous. So
Yep.
I actually found some Mexican guys, and yeah, and I started kind of building a crew from there.
There's a lot of technicians that disagree with me. There's a lot of contractors that disagree with me with this. But as the investor, you can't be the one working on the house. You have to hire the guys to come in and do it because they're going to do a 10 times better job than you. What we're good at is marketing and finding things and putting stuff under contract. I feel like that is the job of the real estate investor and not contractor.
I totally agree, man. But Dean told me, Alan, you need to do everything one time, because if a guy tells you he wants $500 to change that toilet, you've changed the
Yeah.
toilet, and you
Right.
know it's not worth $500 to change that toilet. So that made a big impact on me. So,
Okay.
the first probably 3, 4, 5 projects, I was probably in
Yep.
there way more, but I was working alongside the guys I was hiring, just trying to figure it
Uh,
out and see what was actually going on.
and just learn it.
Yep,
Yep.
exactly. Yep. So that's how it went in the beginning.
And so that's how you acquired 100 rental properties, is through door knocking, or how did you grow from there?
Yeah, so I just basically kept doing that. Kept doing more wholesaling, and then what really let me take off, man, is I bought a duplex. There was a junky duplex on the market, and it had been on the market for a while, and nobody wanted this piece. And so I got a hold of the broker, and I said, "Hey, I'll take that thing. I'll give him full price if he'll carry the." I looked it up. I saw you didn't owe any money on it. If he'll
Uh-huh.
carry the note for me, with a minimal amount down. I think I told them like $1,000 or something. They came back. They wanted 10 grand down. I said, shit, I only got 5, man. I knew the
Yeah.
tenants were problems. So I gave him 5 grand down. He ended up carrying the paper. And sure enough, they didn't pay rent either. I had to get the people in the back out. So that was, more renovating. But through that process, I would go make this guy payments every
Yeah.
month, dude, like clockwork, early every month. I would go
Yeah.
to his office. He owned a big company. And through this process, I built a relationship with the guy, and he would start talking to me a little bit more and a little bit more. And I was doing a lot of things, was doing a lot of wholesaling and kind of a little bit of flipping with the limited money I had. But he
Hmm.
said, hey, if you need to borrow some money, I can loan you some. And so when that happened, and that was my first private lender, he started loaning me money, man. I took off like a damn rocket,
Yeah.
because now it was like I've got the money, man. And yeah, I was already out really hustling. So yeah, that allowed me to really take off there.
It's amazing once you got that support behind you and you can go out and do it and you got the funding there, you can go make any deal happen.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, anybody can do it, right? Anybody can
Hmm.
do it. It's just it's through the process. It may not be the same process as mine, but everybody has to go through their own process, whatever process that is. If you want something bad enough, through the process, dude, I guarantee you'll figure it out. I
Yeah,
guarantee it.
absolutely. All right. So you're going along, you're getting properties, you got this guy funding deals for you, you're doing the Burr method, you're flipping a few, I'm guessing, wholesaling a
Yep,
few,
yep,
renting
yep,
a few.
flipping. Yep. So whatever leads would come in, I would obviously look and see what was the best model. Hey, can we make big spread on flipping or wholesaling, or is this one better for a rental?
Right.
If I already owned property close to it, I would try and keep it for rental. I was trying to keep as many rentals as I could,
Yeah,
but you still have to have money to live and do the things you want to do. So
exactly. Exactly.
yep. So then I built an office, California. So got started doing enough stuff where I bought a commercial building and
Okay.
built an office out. Yeah, and started building a team. And one thing led to another. Years go by, and one day I'm checking on properties just like I do, and had a heart attack. And so I didn't know I had a heart attack. I was at a property, and it felt like someone, man, just let me have it in my chest. And then
Right.
this arm, I really couldn't move it. It was like all numb, my left arm.
Uh-huh.
And I would never even thought I had a heart attack. I just thought, man, something's up, but I didn't know what.
Right.
So I sat down for a little bit on the ground. Then I got back up and I drove home. And I walked in the door, and my wife said, "Hey, what's wrong? You look terrible." I said, "I don't know. I don't feel good, but I got this appointment. I just stopped by here for a minute. I gotta go lock this house up." She said, "No, you sit down for a minute. You need a rest." All right. So I laid down for, I don't know, 5, 10 minutes. I said, "I gotta go." I got up, got back in my truck, drove across town to this property, locked it up, put it under contract, and then I drove back home and walked in the door, and my wife said, "Hey, you still look terrible. You're going to the damn hospital." And so went to the hospital. They said, "Hey, you've had a massive heart attack. You have clogged arteries. Basically, we're rushing you into surgery." So they rushed me into my first surgery, put 2 stents in, and then had another surgery after that where they put some more.
You're just a badass, man. You have a massive heart attack, said, "No, I needed this deal. Go get the deal."
But I didn't know I had a heart attack, dude.
Yeah.
If I knew I had a heart attack, I probably wouldn't have done it.
Well, you probably never
really
been around anybody who had a heart attack.
No, I just thought I had, like, my chest was hurting and something was up with my arm. But there's no way. That was like the last thing on my mind that I had a heart attack. When they told me that, I couldn't believe it.
I had a partner about 5 years ago. He had a heart attack, and he was a little older than me, but that's when he was like, always pay attention to this stuff. He called me. He was like, "I think I'm having a heart attack. Can you come here and pick me up and take me into the hospital?" So I went down there, picked him up, and then took him into the hospital. And sure enough, dropped him off. He walked in. He said, "I think I'm having a heart attack." And they said, "Yep, you are." And then they were rushing him to the surgery or whatever, the stents and stuff.
It's not cool, man. It's definitely not cool when it happens. It's scary for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But just guys listening, always, and guys, the pain that you have, like you said, you get the shooting down the left arm, right? Or it's mostly the left arm. Shooting down the left arm, you get the chest pains. Those are signs of heart attacks. Make sure you like don't play around with that. It's not. Allan, you're lucky as shit, dude. Like, because that takes out so many people.
Yeah, to honestly, dude, if it wasn't for my wife, I'd be dead because I wouldn't have. I'm like my grandpa. I don't go to the damn doctor. So I would have just wrote it out, and I would have died, man, because my arteries were all clogged up, and I didn't even know it.
Yeah. Just don't be too proud when you feel that pain. Go to the hospital. Yep.
I agree, man.
Nothing to play with. Nothing at all. That guy's. I mean, he's still kicking. He's still doing great. As are you. But I mean, you don't want to. I don't want to experience that.
Me neither, man. I don't want to ever have to go through that again.
So, had the heart attack. Did you have any thought, like, when you come out of the heart attack, what's life like? What are you thinking about mostly?
I don't know, man. It really screwed me up. I basically was not taking care of business. I just kind of let my office just fall to shit and told all my employees basically whatever. I bought a freaking 45-foot motorhome and I just took off.
So you were just like, you know what? Life is too short. I want to experience.
Yeah. So that put me on another journey. My wife and I traveled around the country for a few years with my wife was actually pregnant, dude. I don't know, 8 months pregnant when I had my heart attack with our daughter, our only daughter. And so, I bought that motorhome and I loaded them up. My daughter was about 4 weeks old and we rolled out, man. So that we just traveled all around and I just tried to spend some quality time with them. And from there, I ended up in Oregon. I settled in Oregon and then I started flipping property there. And by this time, I kind of put my office back together a little bit. I had 2 girls working there, just managing my properties.
Uh-huh.
And then I set up in Oregon and we did our thing there for a few years and fires and everything started happening. And about 9 months ago, last summer, I told my wife, we're not going to do this again because the fires were just so bad. Plus the smoke, you couldn't go outside. And so I thought we were going to move to Indiana because we do a lot of business there. And we went there for a month, checked it out. I said, we ain't staying here. This is too gloomy. So we started heading south and here we are, man. In Parkland, Florida is where we ended up settling. So
now are you still in you're in the house now? You just bought a house.
Yep. Just bought a house here and man, we're just, I feel really settled. I didn't feel settled in Oregon for some reason. I don't know why, man, but I just didn't feel.
Were you living out of the motorhome or were you living out? Did you have a house in Oregon as well?
No, I started buying property right when I got there. And I actually had 2 houses 3 hours from each other. Yeah. And was flipping in Bend, Oregon. I don't know if you know where that's at, but
I know where that's at.
We started flipping property there.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing led to another. And I said, let's just get out of here and go find some clean air. So
I thought it would be so cool and it's on my list to do, is to grab the RV and go across country. I have 2 boys right now, and just travel and just go see the entire United States. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
It's awesome, man. You'll have a lot of great experiences, dude. But let me tell you, bro, it's a lot of work. I see these people in their freaking 70s, man. I'm like, I don't know how the hell they do it. You know, these 70s, they're driving this big motorhome, towing a car. It's like, dude, it is a lot of work. I don't think people realize how much work it is. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun, man. And you'll create some awesome memories.
Yeah.
But you'll also go through a lot of work too. So,
yeah.
But it's definitely worth it.
I think it would be fun. Yeah. My buddy always says, he's always like, hard work. I mean, having fun is hard work, because think about it. Really, the fun things are hard work. And those are the experiences and the memories that you remember.
And that's why they're worth it.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. So now you're in Parkland, Florida, running the business. You still have the 100 rentals. And what do you...
No, I have a few hundred rentals.
Oh, you have a few hundred rentals.
Yeah.
You picked up more along the way.
Yeah. We picked up more. I started buying stuff in Indiana, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
And we've been growing that out. And I still have my California stuff too, but I'm getting ready to liquidate my California property.
Okay.
And I've been looking pretty hard in Florida, man, because I love it here.
Yeah.
But cap rates are pretty low. So we're doing some marketing for properties just direct to sellers now. So looking to pick up some stuff and get everything out of California, man. I'm ready to get the heck out of there, buddy.
Absolutely. I don't know how I can see you getting out. California is beautiful if you take all the politics and everything else out of it, right? It's nothing else like California, but the politics for me is the one that throws it for me, that I can't do.
Yep.
But Florida, I don't know if I could live in Florida either. It's too damn hot.
I don't care, dude. They'd say, "Oh well, there's hurricanes here. It's humid." Dude, I love it. I don't care. I like to sweat, man. I like hard work and I like to sweat. So bring it on, dude. Let's do it.
That's awesome. Well, cool, man. So now, what's the plan? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to grow into? How do people find you and connect with you, man?
So I had Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff years ago. But when I had that heart attack and I bought the motorhome, man, to be honest, Kyle, I just disconnected, dude. I deleted all my Instagram. Why didn't I just put it on hold? I don't know. I freaking deleted everything. I'm like, I'm never doing this again, right? I don't know.
Right.
And so, I deleted everything. So I just started a new channel. It's my channel is the Show Up Investor on Instagram. And just started building that out, man. I hired a couple of video guys that follow me around, and I'm building that out, and I'm getting ready to liquidate a bunch of stuff in California. I'm actually going to bring a couple of the girls that work for me in my office in California. They're going to come out here and work with me, and we're going to start building it out, man. We're going to start doing some Airbnb stuff and probably build out an Airbnb management company as well.
Oh, nice. That's awesome, man. That is awesome. Well, that's exciting, guys. If you want to hit up Allan, the Show Up Investor on IG, hit him up, man. And if the story connects with you, definitely reach out, because this is very inspiring. I mean, going from drug addict parents who gave you no direction at all, and then just to see where you're at now, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Like I said, I think we've all got our struggles, man. We've all got our struggles, Kyle, but everybody's are different. But if anybody, resonates with me, that reach out, man. Anything I can do for anyone, I'm an open book. So anybody I can help, just reach out.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you being on the show, brother. And thank you so much for sharing that story. It's very inspiring. I can't wait for people to listen to it.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much, Kyle, for letting me come on and share it, man. I really appreciate that. And thank you for your time.
Absolutely, brother.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.